Hi, welcome to the Cocoon Clinic. I'm Brittany, licensed and certified speech language pathologist, here to help you learn some language tips to implement with your children at home. So today we're going to talk about how to teach our toddler how to talk and teach them functional vocabulary using language routines. So language routines are pretty much one of my favorite ways to teach toddlers how to talk because it's very easy, it's fun for the toddler, and it can just be implemented into your already established routine or your already established activities. So we've talked before about how it's really important to work on functional language before you work on academic language. We want to teach language that helps our child express their wants and their needs before we teach language, academic language, which would be, or how I'm defining it, would be shapes, colors, letters, numbers, and things like that. If you want more information on that, go ahead and watch the linked video below. So a language routine is a set of words, phrases, or sentences that you use consistently and repetitively during a specific activity or task. So for example, let's say you walk into your daughter's room in the morning. Instead of doing something different every time when you wake her up, if you want to implement a language routine, you would do the same thing and you would say the same thing every time. So every time you walk in her room, you might turn on the lights and you might say, "Lights on!" And then you might scurry up to her crib and you might look over and say, "Good morning, baby." And then you might maybe have to change your diaper and you might say, "Changing your diaper," or you might sing a specific song every single time. So here's another example of a language routine. My 2-year-old loves making eggs. It's one of his favorite activities. He gets so excited when I'm like, "Do you want to eat eggs for breakfast?" Because he knows he gets to be a part of the process. And so implementing a language routine into a task like that could be as simple as this. Every time you make the eggs, you would say the same things. So you say, "All right, baby, bring up a chair," or "pull up a chair." So my son is 2, and so you would modify this according to your child's age, right? He's old enough to bring up his chair. Okay, now stand up on the chair. Good job. Okay, here's your first egg. Crack the egg, crack, crack. And then I might hand him a spoon. I might say, "Okay, ready to mix the eggs? Mix, 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 mix. Good job, you mixed the eggs. Okay, now we're going to add some salt and pepper. Let's put some salt in. Sprinkle, 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 sprinkle. Good job, that's all good, that's enough. All right, and then we're done making our eggs and we cook them." But it's only a language routine if I do that every time we make the eggs. Because now he knows what to expect. That's key in language routines, and it becomes repetitive. That's why language routines work so well, because they're repetitive, and repetition is key for a child to learn new vocabulary. In order for a child to learn new vocabulary, they must hear a word multiple times before you will hear them say it. And that's why this strategy doesn't really work. When we say, here, I'll take my bow, my daughter's bow. If we say, "Oh, you see the bow? Do you see the bow? Say bow." Say bow. One, your child's not going to do something you ask them to do because they don't want to do what you ask them to do because they're babies and toddlers. And 2, it's not as effective because you said bow twice and then you told them to say it. It's much more effective if you have this bow with you the whole time and you're like, "Oh, Mommy's going to wear the bow. Is the bow on my head? Look at the bow. Oh my goodness, do you see the bow? The bow fell in my hands. Here's the bow. This bow is stretchy," and you just keep saying bow, 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 bow. Eventually, your child's gonna pick up the vocabulary word of bow. And so that's a lesson for a different day, but it kind of still applies to language routines, which is repetition is key. So this can be implemented into any activity. Let me give you one more example. Let's say you are getting in the car and you want to do a language routine for that. So you're walking your baby, maybe you have a young baby, so you're doing everything for them. So you might say, "All right, let's go get in the car. Open the door. I open the door. Sit in your chair. Sit in your chair. All right, we're gonna buckle. All done. all done, we did it. Close the door and then you leave. Now, if every time you put your child in the car and you say, open the door, all right, sit in your seat, okay, buckle, all done. There you have a language routine. And that's kind of a long language routine. Some language routines can be as simple as after you're done feeding your child, you just say, all done eating. You also have autonomy in this. You can choose to do one language routine a day, or you can choose to implement a language routine into every single activity during your day. It's really dependent upon what you want to do and what words you want your child to learn the most. So after you've implemented your language routine over a course of time, and I'm not going to put a specific number on this because this is really dependent upon your child's developmental level and their age and the vocabulary that they already have. So it could be a few days, it could be a few weeks, it could be a few months. It depends on the child. And you can kind of gauge that, you can play around with what I'm about to say. And that is, you're going to purposely and intentionally wait during the language routine. You're going to purposely pause at a time when you would normally say a repetitive phrase or a repetitive word or a repetitive sentence, song, whatever it is. You're going to pause during the routine and see if your child will fill in the blank of whatever it is you were going to say. And so an example of this, going back to our prior example of maybe waking our daughter up in the morning, we might say lights on and go up to her crib and look over and we say, hello baby, good morning baby. And then we go to take off her diaper. We say, I'm going to change your, and we pause and see if she's going to fill in the word diaper. And again, this depends on the age. You're not going to expect your 6-month-old or your 8-month-old to say the word diaper. You can still use language routines with young babies, but you're not expecting them to say the words because developmentally that would not be appropriate or expected. But let's say you have a 14-month-old or a 16-month-old or an 18-month-old in that crib. You might expect this depending again on their already developed vocabulary and on their developmental kind of stage, because even within those specific age groups, yes, there are norms, but each child is at a different level within those norms. And so you might say, I'm going to change your, and then you freeze and you're holding the diaper and you're looking at your child and you're gonna wait, and you're gonna wait 5 to 10 seconds, and you're going to count in your head, because for us parents, 2 seconds feels like a whole year has passed. It feels like it's so long, and we jump in and we say the word too soon. I'm guilty of this, and so what I tell parents to do when they come into my actual speech therapy room is count in your head or count on your hand or do what you need to do. Make sure it's at least 5 to 10 seconds. If they don't say it in that 5 to 10 seconds, that's fine. You model it. Diaper! I'm gonna change your diaper. But if they do say it, then there you go. They got a new vocabulary word. And then you might keep doing that during your routine. You might even push it a little further and say, okay, it's time to... And you might wait, like when they're a little bit older and they already have the vocabulary word of diaper, now you might wait to see if they say change diaper. So that's how you implement waiting into your language routines. So if you take the example of the eggs earlier, I might hand my son the spoon and I might say, it's time to mix the, see if he says eggs. Again, I'm waiting. If not, I'll model it and we'll keep going. At no point am I saying, say eggs, say eggs. No, we're teaching language routines through repetition, not through saying, say this, say that. We're teaching it through repetition over a period of time, and your child will learn new vocabulary that way. And then when you implement the waiting, it gives them a chance to jump into that language routine and fill in the vocabulary that they have hopefully learned. And so I might say, okay, mix the, and then I'm waiting for him to say eggs. He says eggs, great, we're so excited. And then maybe a week later, I say, okay, it's time to, and I hand him the spoon and I want to see if he might say mix eggs. Again, if it's developmentally appropriate. We don't expect a 12-month-old or 14-month-old to say a 2-word phrase. You can't say 2-word phrases if you don't have quite a large single word vocabulary. You're not gonna start combining words yet. But if your child, again, is 24 months, then you're gonna expect him to start putting two words together, and this is a great way to teach it. I hope this was helpful today. If it was, go ahead and give me a like, subscribe for more videos about early language learning and language learning tips for your children at home. And if you do start to implement a language routine, or you already have language routines implemented into your daily life, go ahead and leave a comment below telling me which language routines you do on a daily basis or a weekly basis, and which ones your babies and toddlers enjoy the most. Something else we're going to talk about in a future video that I'm excited about, in kind of related to language routines, is music, because music is another way to teach language to our babies and our toddlers in a way that is easy and fun and, again, repetitive, and it kind of is just like the way we implemented language routines but with music. So we're going to talk about that next time. Bye y'all, I'll see you in the next video.